Hi, I'm Kenny Joya. Welcome to another one of my tutorials. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create simple EDM chords in REAPER. I have a project in front of me here, and I want to record some simple EDM chords. So I'm going to start off by making a new track. I'll name it Synth. I'll give it a color, something like this. Then I'll add a plugin to this track. I'm going to right click here, go to my effects chains, where I already saved a synth sound right here. It's a great place to save your presets for your virtual instrument plugins, which opens up this synth. And now I'm going to create an item to place chords. So I'm going to hold down Control on the PC or Command on the Mac and just draw from bar 1 to bar 5. Then I'm going to create a time selection so the section will loop. Then if I double click the item, it opens up the MIDI editor where we can place some chords. Now in a previous video, I showed how you can paint some chords by using modifiers. On the PC, it's Alt, Control, and Shift. And on Mac, it's Option Command and Shift. If you hold it down, the cursor changes to a paintbrush so we can paint chords. So if I start on C, I can create a C major chord. And the length of that chord is based on the size of our grid, down over here. It's a whole note right now, so when we create notes here, they're going to be a whole note long. So if I wanted to create another note, just go over here, like the G, hold down the modifiers, and create a G chord. Do the same thing with an A, which is the 6th chord. And then finally, we'll create an F chord, right here. But if we play back the whole pattern, we'll notice a problem. This 3rd chord is wrong. It's the 6th chord, and it should be a minor. But by default, when we paint notes, we're creating major chords. Unless you want to switch it with our key snap to choosing chords right here, to minor chords or 7ths. But that's a bit clumsy. Another thing we could do is just snap it to a certain key by going to the transpose window. Hit T. That opens up the transpose dialog, and just choose snap to scale. And if I choose C major, it's going to change that 3rd chord to a minor, before and after. So that'll fix it. That sounds a lot better, but it's a bit awkward doing it this way, as we need to know the key and also open the dialog each time. So I created a better way. Let's delete this. Let's turn off key snapping, as we don't need it. And we're going to create custom actions where we can quickly create chords in very simple ways, like major, minor, major 7th, and minor 7th. So let's create some custom actions. We'll go up here to the Actions menu, Show Action List, then go to the section and switch it to MIDI Editor. Then we'll go down here to Custom Actions and Create New. Then in our filter, we're going to type Step Input. There's a bunch of actions here where we could step input certain notes. We'll start off with this one right down here. Step Input, Insert Note. So it's going to insert a note where we place our cursor. So let's add this one to the right, but it's only going to add one note. We want to create a chord, so we can add notes that are relative to the original note right here. To create a major chord, we're going to add 4 semitones above for the upper 3rd, 7 semitones above for an upper fifth, and 12 semitones above for an upper octave. And you could also add a lower octave right here for a bass note. But I'm not going to use it for now, but feel free to change this up based on your personal choices. So now we'll name this major chord, hit OK, and we have a custom action saved right here. So now if we go back to the MIDI editor and place our cursor on any note we choose, let's choose C3, see what lights up over here, and it turns red when we click it, and it also shows up over here, C3 or 60, letting us know which note we just chose. And because we have the grid on up here, and it's set to whole notes, it's going to move our cursor to bar 1. So if we're at bar 2, we click over here, it moves to bar 1. So now if we execute that custom action, it's going to create a C major chord right here. So just double click it, and here's the chord we just added. And it's a full bar long, just like before. So now I can quickly do the same thing for every chord in our progression. If we go to the G right here and click it, go back to the actions, double click this, and it puts a G chord right here. And for bar 3, we want an A minor chord, or the 6th chord. So we can't use that action over here. So let's go back to the actions window. And let's duplicate this custom action, but change it to be minor. So we're down here and hit copy, which duplicates that custom action. Let's edit it. And let's change the +4 note to be +3, right over here. So now it's going to create a regular note, a +3 note, a +7 note, and a +12, which is going to create a minor chord. Change the name of it to minor chord, and save that. So now I have 2 custom actions to create chords. We'll go right here and select on the A, go to the custom actions, choose the minor chord, and we created an A minor chord right here. And then finally, we need to create an F major. So we'll click on the F and go back to a major chord. So now we should have the full progression. Perfect. But it's still a bit clumsy having to go to the actions dialog each time. So the quickest way I've found is to add it to the MIDI editor contextual menu, which is what happens if we right-click in here. Right here, this is the MIDI editor contextual menu. So we can put those custom actions in this menu. But let's first create a few more. Let's duplicate the major chord to be a major 7th. Let's get rid of the octave and instead add a +11, which will make this a major 7th chord. And rename it. And do the same thing to create a minor 7 chord. Copy it, edit it, change the name to minor 7, remove the octave, and replace it with step 10, which makes this a minor 7 chord. So they all show up right here. But now we need to add them to that menu. So go to the options menu and go down here to customize menus. Then we'll go up here and find that menu, MIDI piano roll context, which is the contextual menu for the MIDI piano roll. So now we can add those actions to this menu. Let's start off by adding a separator, and then we'll add those actions. Just select them one by one, select and close the last one, and they all show up right here. Let's put them in order: major chord, major 7 chord, minor 7 chord. And now if we save them and close them, they'll show up when we right-click over here. So let's delete all these notes and create new ones just by right-clicking after we select. So I'll go to the C, right-click it, major chord, go to the G, right-click it, major chord, go to the A, right-click it, minor chord, and go to the F, click it, major chord. And just like that, we recreated this pattern. And now very quickly, we can create any chords that we want. Let's go through a bunch that are very common in EDM, or electronic dance music. And to make this simple, we'll start out in the key of C, but we could transpose it to any key later. So let's start off with the 4 chord, which is an F. We'll make it F major. Then the 2 chord, which is a D, we'll make that a D minor. Then the 6 chord at the A, which is a minor chord. And then finally, the 5 chord, which is a G, right here, or a G major. And that sounds like this. And that might sound better in different keys. So let's hit the T key for transpose. Let's bring it down 4 steps. And that'll sound like this. Let's bring it up an octave. Let's create another one. Let's start off with the 1 chord and make it major. Let's go to the 3 chord, which is the E, and make that minor. We'll go to the 6 chord, which is the A, and make it A minor 7. And then finally, we'll go back to the F, which is the 4 chord, and make that major. So it sounds like this. Again, we can transpose it to different keys to create a different sound. Let's try bringing it down 3 steps, and it sounds like this. Let's bring it down 1 more. Let's create another one that uses more 7 chords. We'll start off with the C, or the 1 chord, but we'll make it a major 7. Then we'll add in the 6 chord, but make it a minor 7th. And then for the 3rd chord, we'll use a 3 chord, which is an E, and make it a minor 7th. And then finally, for the last chord, we'll use the 4 chord, which is the F, and a major 7th. Let's hear it all back. Let's try a few more. Let's start on the 4th chord, which is an F, and make it a major 7th. Then we'll go to the 5 chord, or the G, and make it a major chord. Then we'll go back to the 1, or the C, and make that a major chord, and end up with the 6 chord, which is a minor, and that sounds like this. Let's bring that up. 2 semitones. So it sounds like this. It's a pretty common progression in EDM. And the last one I'm going to show you starts off with the 6 minor, so it's an A, then goes to the 4, which is an F major, then the 5 major, or the G, and then finally E minor, or the 3 chord. And that sounds like this. And if you don't want to hear it in C major, just transpose it to a different key. Let's go up 3. So now it's in C minor instead of A minor. But I think you get the idea of how easy we can create these chords. We've gone over some common progressions in EDM, but more importantly, how quickly we can create chords using the custom actions and right-clicking in this menu. So that's pretty much it. That's creating simple EDM chords in Reaper. I hope you learned something, hope you can use it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye.